Picture a man in his late 30s, good career, healthy, dialed-in routine. He's not bitter, he's not lonely. He could marry tomorrow if he wanted. But he isn't rushing to the altar because he's done the math. And the math isn't romantic. We've been told marriage is three things: spiritual, social, and romantic. All true for many people. But it is also a legal contract with default terms most couples never read. You wouldn't sign a business contract you've never reviewed, yet we do it in the most consequential partnership of our lives. This video isn't anti-love, it's pro-clarity. We're going to map risk versus reward, decode incentives, and show how adult conversations, including prenups, can protect both people, so the relationship runs on choice, not legal entanglement. Quick litmus test. If I asked you to invest half your assets and a slice of future income on the bet that two human beings will never change emotionally or logistically for decades, would you sign without reading the terms? That discomfort you feel is your rational brain waking up. Why are more high-performing men pressing pause? Not because they hate commitment, because they've seen how the default contract can create asymmetric risk, large potential losses if things end, while most of the benefits, companionship, sex, co-living, even parenting, are achievable without government paperwork. Let's establish guardrails so we stay sober, not cynical. 1. People are different. Many marriages thrive. 2. We're discussing incentive structures, not blaming individuals. 3. Our objective is freedom with responsibility, love by choice, not by trap. Here's what tends to get missed. When you marry, you don't just make a promise to each other, you enter a three-party relationship with the state. The law can change mid-game: tax, custody, alimony frameworks. Imagine a startup where a third party can edit the cap table at will. You'd plan for that, right? So what's the practical downside men are modeling? 1. Financial exposure if the relationship ends. Splits of marital assets, support obligations, depending on jurisdiction. 2. Authority without control, being held responsible for outcomes. Money, home stability, parenting availability, while sharing or losing veto power on key decisions. 3. Well-being erosion, when a relationship turns into duty rather than desire. Many men report they didn't plan for the mental load that arises with "be the engine for everything." Again, this isn't about vilifying women, it's about contract clarity. If you and your partner want identical things and are both disciplined, awesome. But incentives matter, and contracts shape incentives. Mature couples design agreements that reward cooperation and reduce worst-case damage. Why don't most couples do this? Because reading the contract feels unromantic. We confuse silence with trust, but silence is just avoidance dressed in candlelight. Here's the reframe. The most romantic thing you can offer someone is freedom. You're safe to leave, and you still choose me. That's what good agreements create. Safety to choose every day. Before we dive deeper, engage with the channel. Comment one sentence you wish someone had told you about the legal side of long-term relationships. I'll break down the best ones in the next contract clinic. Let's analyze marriage like a term sheet and then rebuild it so love can breathe. 1. Default terms versus designed terms. Default terms vary by country or state, but here's the pattern. Assets accumulated after marriage are usually joint. Support frameworks can activate upon separation, and custody outcomes are uncertain, expensive, and emotionally brutal to litigate. None of this means you shouldn't marry. It means you shouldn't sign blind. The antidote is designed terms. A prenup or cohabitation agreement can specify yours, mine, ours, what remains separate, what becomes marital, and how to handle joint property or businesses. Income deltas. If one partner pauses career for caregiving, how do you account for that sacrifice fairly? Debt shields. What happens if one partner takes on risky debt or a failing business? Exit fairness. Agreed formula for division and timelines, so a breakup doesn't become a war. This doesn't kill romance, it protects it. When both parties know the downside is capped and fair, staying together is a choice, not a hostage situation. 2. The respect-authority feedback loop. Men and women both need love, but many men psychologically run on respect. When a home culture consistently undermines a man's judgment, you get a predictable arc: resentment, withdrawal, shutdown. Not because men are fragile, because humans degrade without baseline dignity. Design principle. Align roles with authority. If you carry a responsibility, finances, school logistics, safety rules, you must also carry decision rights inside that lane. That goes both ways. The partner who owns a lane has a voice that counts. Practically, hold a house ops meeting monthly. List lanes, owners, budgets, and veto thresholds. This turns chaos into cooperation and removes the mystery expectations that corrode respect. 3. The intimacy reality check. Desire is not a moral virtue, it's a system. Long-term desire tends to follow admiration, novelty, and polarity, not obligation. Couples who treat intimacy as a negotiable later often watch it evaporate. Then both people feel trapped, one starved, the other pressured. Design principle. Schedule connection systems, not performative chores. Weekly dates where logistics are handled, phones off. Quarterly novelty, new places, new experiences. Fitness and self-respect practices for both. And if you co-sign a legal contract, include a relationship ops clause, not to mandate intimacy, but to mandate investment in the conditions that make it likely. 4. The kids question. Parenting is purpose. It's also logistics. If children are in your plan, talk before any contract about how many and when, what career sacrifices each is willing to make, and how you'll compensate the career pause partner for lost compounding. And if separation happens, what custody template you both believe is best for the child, and a commitment to mediation before litigation. You won't predict everything, but making your values explicit now reduces the chance you end up learning them through a court order later. 5. The money architecture. Use the 3-account model. Yours, personal spending/saving. Mine, partner's personal spending/saving. Ours, joint operations, home, food, kids, funded by a ratio or fixed number you both agree on. Transparency beats surveillance. Share dashboards monthly. No gotcha games. Money isn't love, but money fights feel like disrespect if expectations are undefined. 6. The industry around breakups. There's a reason divorces often escalate. Conflict is billable. The system is not engineered for efficiency or peace. That's not a conspiracy, it's an incentive reality. Design principle. Pre-commit to mediation and collaborative law before any court filing. Include a cooling-off period. Cap legal spend before switching to binding arbitration. You're not just planning for love, you're planning for your worst day. Pause and reflect. Which clause here would have saved someone you know? Comment the clause. I'll compile a community open-source relationship term sheet.
If marriage can be high risk under default terms, what are the viable paths forward? There are 3, and they can coexist. Path A, conscious marriage with design terms. You want the ceremony, the social legitimacy, the spiritual frame, and you also want adult risk management. Here's the blueprint. 1. Prenup early, not a last-minute ambush. Frame as protect both of us so we can love without traps. 2. Yours, mine, ours in writing. Include buyout formulas for joint assets. 3. Role authority map. Lanes, decision rights, veto thresholds, review cadence. 4. Relationship ops. Weekly date, quarterly novelty, annual retreat, tech-free windows. 5. Parenting charter. Values, conflict resolution, custody template if separation happens, commitment to mediation first. 6. Exit peace pact. Cooling off period, max legal spend per side, collaborative law before litigation. This is not romance killing, it's romance protecting. You're saying, if we fail with dignity. If we succeed by choice. Path B. Partnership without paperwork. You may cohabit, co-parent, or share life without marrying. Use agreements, cohabitation contracts, parenting plans, beneficiary designations, powers of attorney. If you avoid the legal default, create your own default. Upside, flexibility, faster exits if necessary, lower financial exposure. Risk, without explicit agreements, you can still drift into obligations. Solution, be more explicit than married couples. Write it down. Path C. Sovereign single, selective connection. Some men thrive single. Deep work, mission, friendships, selective relationships with clear boundaries. Not isolation, sovereignty. You can still love, still be generous, still grow with someone without merging finances or signing the state's contract. This path isn't anti-family. Legacy can exist via mentorship, godparenting, entrepreneurship, or later life parenting when your terms and timing are right. The prenup talk, word-for-word starter. Hey, I want us to last. That means we should love with our eyes open. Marriage is spiritual, social, and legal. The legal part scares me because default terms can punish both of us if we ever struggle. I'd rather we write our own rules now when we're calm, kind, and clear. A fair yours, mine, ours agreement protects us both, so we're here by choice, not economics. If that conversation feels unromantic, I get it. But to me, protecting you and protecting us is the most romantic thing I can do. If your partner hears this as rejection rather than mutual protection, that's information, not condemnation. Compatibility isn't just chemistry, it's contract philosophy. The respect engine. Daily practices. Owned lanes, don't blur them. Who's CEO of which household functions? Make it explicit. Public loyalty, private feedback. Never humiliate each other in public. Align in front of kids, family, friends. Debate in private. Admiration reps, daily micro-praise for effort, not entitlement. Thanks for handling X. Respect compounds. Boundary clarity. No is a complete sentence for both partners. Health first. Sleep, training, nutrition. You can't lead or love on an empty nervous system. Mission matters. Both people need projects bigger than the relationship. Dependency kills polarity. The is it worth it calculator. Ask 3 questions before signing anything. 1. If this ends, what's my worst case downside under default law? 2. Have we designed terms that cap that downside fairly for both of us? 3. Do our daily systems, roles, respect, intimacy ops support long-term desire or quietly erode it? If you can't answer yes, fairly, and yes, slow down. Love deserves a better engine. Objections. Answering with clarity, not anger. Isn't this fear-based? It's risk-based. Courage isn't blindness. It's seeing the cliff and building a guardrail. Prenups are planning for divorce. Seatbelts aren't planning to crash. They're planning to survive if you do. Talking money kills romance. Avoiding money talks kills respect. And respect is the oxygen romance breathes. This is anti-woman. No, this is pro-mutual protection. Good agreements elevate both partners. Bad defaults punish both, just differently. Imagine two futures. Future A, you sign the default contract and hope. When stress hits, career loss, health scares, parenting disagreements, you discover your legal reality during your worst week. Love becomes negotiation under pressure. Future B, you design the contract together. You keep separate lanes and shared goals. You invest in intimacy systems the same way you invest in finances. If you ever end, you end with dignity. And if you stay, it's because every day you re-choose each other without economic handcuffs. Which future produces more trust? The one where staying is easy, or the one where leaving is easy, but we stay anyway? Comment. What clause would you add to a fair yours, mine, ours agreement? Save this video for your future self. Hard talks are easier with a script. Share with one friend who's engaged or thinking about cohabiting. You might save them money, yes, but more importantly, you might save their respect. Love is beautiful. Contracts are real. Put them together wisely and you get something rare, a relationship that runs on choice, where freedom and respect aren't competing values, they're the foundation. I'm not telling you not to marry. I'm telling you to marry on your terms or partner on your terms, so your heart stays open because your eyes stayed open. That's not cynicism. That's grown-up romance. If you're ready to build conscious commitment, whether married, partnered, or sovereign, type "eyes open" in the comments. Next episode, we'll draft a sample term sheet you can take to your attorney and adapt for your life. Choose clarity, protect respect, love by choice. That's the only way it lasts.